Hi folks, Mike Schramke with Larry Stove Sand Equipment, America's largest selling Coyote dealer. It has been a long time. I looked on the videos I've put on YouTube, and it's been like several years since I did an in-depth dive on the RX 7320 series, and so that's what today's going to be about. I'm going to walk around the 7320 cab that I have here, you know, and shout out a bunch of specs, a bunch of features and benefits, and then we'll take one on the road and show you a truly delightful power shuttle transmission. This is going to be a fairly long video. If you're interested in a tractor of this size, which is 73 horsepower, it might be worth your while. Otherwise, it's kind of a long video, but I hope you'll learn something. You know, the 7320, sometimes they're hard to get. Sometimes we get a few. Right now, I've got about a half a dozen of them. It's a perfect time to take like I said, an in-depth dive. So this will be interesting. The Coyote RX 7320 Power Shuttle Cab is what we're looking at, with a Coyote KL 7320 self-leveling loader. Let's go through some of the specs. The Coyote 7320 features a 4-cylinder turbo diesel made by Coyote, Daedong. They make all of their own engines. I can't think of an exception. They make all their own stuff. It is a 2.4 liter turbo diesel. And here's something interesting, today's fun fact. Coyote uses a modular engine design. So if you were looking at a 35 horsepower CK3510 through and that's a 3-cylinder, through a, I don't know, NX 6010, 60 horsepower, also 3-cylinder, it is the same modular based engine as this 4-cylinder 2.4 liter. Each cylinder is 0.6 liter. So the 3-cylinder, 0.6 times 3, is a 1.8 liter. This is a 2.4 liter, but essentially the same engine. It's really a great way to design power plants. It keeps everything simple. It keeps everything reliable, because when you only build one thing, you get really good at it. Just make it, you know, add a cylinder when it becomes a 6620, 66 horsepower, or the 7320, 73 horsepower. I just always have liked that it's a modular based engine. The tractor is available in 3 transmissions. The first one I usually don't stock. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I don't know. It's a manual shuttle, 12 times 12, with the big, you know, shuttle handle up on the dash. That's the standard transmission. This one is a power shuttle, 12 by 12. The power shuttle gives you the ability to switch forward to reverse without stopping and without having to clutch or move the shift or anything else. Just an electric switch that you know, on the steering column, forward and reverse. The power shuttle also features a thumb clutch on the gear shift. So if you are moving through the gears, first gear, thumb clutch second, thumb clutch third. If you're doing a lot of back and forth work or a lot of open field work, not having to use your left leg on the clutch constantly, it's just a work saver, and it works real well. In fact, it's ridiculously reliable. It truly does work. The other option is a power shuttle with a creeper gear, so a 4-range transmission, low, medium, high, and creep. So it takes that 12 by 12, and with the creeper range, you know, splits it in half, so a total of 24 by 24. Sell a few of them. You know, it's I guess if you have use for going extraordinarily slow at maximum RPMs because you're doing something like that, and that's, you know, we do sell a few of them. This is the biggest seller by far, though, is the 12 by 12 power shuttle. The tractor has a 25-gallon fuel tank, a saddle design. You fill it from one side, but it fills essentially 2 tanks, you know, with a crossover, so saddle tanks. The 3-point hitch capacity is 3898, 3,900 298 pounds. So darn near 2 tons, 3-point hitch capacity. And you'll see why. There's two main reasons. If you look at these cylinders, they're externally mounted. They're outside of the transmission housing, which sets them back further and puts the fulcrum back further so it's able to lift more. And by the way, I like having the cylinders externally mounted for another reason. Someday when they need service, well, whether it's 10 years from now or 100 years from now or whatever, you don't have to break the tractor open to get to the cylinders to reseal them. They are external. Just unpin them top and bottom, send them to the hydraulic shop and have them rebuilt. The other reason is the hydraulic pump on this, which I'll get to in a minute. It's massive. The tractor and loader together weigh 8,058 pounds. So 4 tons, it weighs 8,000 pounds. Most folks would add ballast to the tires, so I always point out that with rim guard, which is what we use, beet juice, it weighs 9,766 pounds. That is a tremendous amount of weight on a 70-something horsepower tractor. The ground clearance with ag tires like this one has is 17 inches. The turning radius, it's by design, it's still considered a compact tractor, and it's compact in the truest sense, meaning, less than 100 horsepower. With the brake, with the brake split and holding one brake, it has a turning radius of only 11 feet 2 inches. Not bad at all. The loader, as I mentioned earlier, is self-leveling. It has an 82-inch bucket. It's a brawny system. The loader itself weighs 1,900 pounds. So if it's made to use with, aggressively, with, like all things, within its limitations. But it is mounted to the front engine chassis, and then it has a cross member going all the way back to the rear axle. And just looking at the steel and the size of the pins, the size of the cylinders, it's an extremely brawny loader. And I think the fact that it weighs 1,900 pounds says that. It has a 10-foot and a 10-foot 2-inch bucket level clearance. So you could walk, well, a 10-foot tall person could walk under it, but so at level bucket bottom, it clears a little over 10 feet. The lift capacity, and they specifically say in the brochure, to full height. So it's not, this number is not just, it'll lift it off the ground. No, this is the lift capacity to full height. And it is 3,384 pounds. So 3,400 pounds lift capacity, and that's still with air in the tires. So the rollback force at the ground level is 5,029 pounds. Think of yourself using a breaker bar to peel something out of the ground. Well, this is 5,029 pounds. A lot of companies are reluctant to say that you can dig with a loader. In fact, it's called a loader, and its main purpose is loading, is moving rocks from here to there, or loading a truck with topsoil, or whatever. But it is rated for digging. It will dig below grade at 6.5 inches. So picture the bucket on the ground level and incline the bucket and start digging 6.5 inches. If you had to dig dig out a place for a driveway or a road or whatever, that's a lot. If you could remove 6 inches per swath until the bucket gets full, that's not bad. The loader operates at 11 gallons per minute, which is a big part of its capacity for lift. So it runs at 11 gallons per minute, and that would indicate that it needs a very, very large hydraulic pump, and thankfully this tractor has it. 19.2 gallons per minute hydraulic flow. The lifting ability in the back, the lifting ability in the loader, any other ancillary items that you have on it, That's a lot of flow rate to be able to use with. Even, even considering the power steering is included in that number. I'm going to take the camera and point out a couple of items, and then what I'd like to do is take it outside and go through, just the operation of the tractor, and especially highlight the power shuttle and thumb clutch systems, because it's pretty cool. So let me move the camera. Brush guard is standard when you get a loader. Now, it doesn't open that easy. I did have it popped. This is the 2.4 liter engine I was telling you about. It is turbocharged. It has some massive cooling abilities. It has its own hydraulic cooler, of course the air conditioner components up here, and then a very large, I'd say, 3-inch radiator. It's all screened. The screens are all easily removable for cleaning. Has a large Donaldson air cleaner. The battery's mounted up front, so when you need to offer your buddy that owns a Kubota a jump start, it's right here. All right, another angle of the 2.4. Did I mention that it's 73 horsepower, 63 at the PTO? So 63, which is probably the most important number, 63 PTO horsepower. Almost everything that you need to check and maintain on this engine is on one side, and I think this is cool. Nothing you don't need to remove any side panels or anything else, just flip the hood up. Dipstick is right here. The oil filter is right here. And don't forget, when you change your oil, to get a paint pen and write the hours on it. Overflow bottle. The engine oil fill is right here. The fuel filter, the primer, hopefully you never run out of fuel because you'll wear your thumb out. The fuel water separator is all right here. Kind of cool, kind of easy to get to. This is convenient. The main power panel with fuses and circuits right there, right up front where you can get to it. I also, by the way, if you leave your tractor out, sometimes you hate to do it, but you leave it out in the middle of a field for an extended length of time or whatever, you can easily pull one of these main circuits, and it might slow somebody down that has nefarious intent and would like to steal your tractor. Big old Donaldson air cleaner. That's kind of the standard of the industry. Just a big, huge canister type. By the way, check these often, of course, but seriously, do check them often. And these are not just go and spend the money and buy a new one every time. Start by banging it on the ground and take some low velocity compressed air and clean it out inside out. You can blow these out and get some extended use out of them before you replace it. And always clean the inside casing free of dust. Another point on dust on these, I always like to, when I remember, point this out to people. There it goes. Okay, it has 3 clamps. Do you know what this is? I'm sure it has a name, and what it does though is as the tractor moves along and does its tractor stuff, it's vibrating and moving along, and the vibration will oftentimes make most of the particulate matter, the dirt in the filter, end down at the bottom. So picture, and this kind of a burper. So it's got a little squeeze valve, if you will, to keep rodent infestation and things like that out. But you can burp it, or much of the debris will fall out. So every once in a while, just give it a little burp, and you'll see a lot of debris fall out. Also, back to the fuse panels. Right up top, you've got a 60 amp, a 60 amp, a 100 amp, and a 100 amp, and they're clearly illustrated. These are slow blow fuses, and take 2 men and a boy to pull one loose. Anyway, if your tractor ever doesn't seem to have an electrical system at all, check the slow blow fuses. On the left side of the engine, we have the aforementioned turbocharger, the little bitty guy. Starter, solenoid, all that stuff is on this side. and easy access to fan belts and the fan. I mentioned the loader capacity is 3,900 pounds to full height, and this gives you a good indication of why. It is mounted to the center of the tractor. It's mounted to the front of the engine block where the frame joins the block, and a cross member that takes it all the way to the back. 25-gallon fuel. Very easily removed loader for those of you that are, perhaps doing hay work and you'd like to drive around the field without the loader in front. Sometimes it seems like the bigger the loader, the easier it is to get off and to have it stay in place. So quite easy. Standard ag tire on the back is 16.9 by 30. A good look at the working end of the tractor, and as you look at it, you could get some indication of why this thing lifts so much weight and is so stable. The rear lift on this, as I said, is nearly 4,000 pounds, or as I like to remind people, about the same as a Nissan Altima. The cylinders are external mounted, and that basic physics puts the fulcrum out from the inside of the transmission. It sticks it out a little bit and allows it to lift more. They're easily serviceable too, with just a pin at the top, pin at the bottom. I really do like that. You'll notice one set of rear hydraulic remotes comes standard, and people will wonder about this. This is not an inexpensive tractor. What's up with that? Well, that one set is a spring type, so when you activate it from inside the cab and let go, it defaults back to closed or neutral. And the other way, of course, just, reverses it. But yet again, when you let go, it defaults back to neutral. There's no way of knowing what the ultimate end user customer wants other than that. So you can get a second set of hydraulic remotes, you can get a third set of hydraulic remotes, and in both cases, you can opt for another spring type, or a detent type, or a detent/float type. And you can intermingle that second and third remote any way you want. So there's, 6 possible combinations. And it's just impossible to tell what the ultimate end user wants. Most folks would want a simple detent or a detent float. And a detent valve, when you push it forward to activate it or pull it backward to activate it, either way, it stays there until you manually put it back to the center position. So if you had something that needed continuous high flow capacity and you're not holding the lever back, for example, backhoe is the most obvious answer, or log splitter, anything that's running continuous and needs a continuous flow of hydraulics would be a detent style. So that's why there's only one set of remotes standard. It has a very massive drawbar, and it's adjustable in and out. It can be flipped upside down so that the accepting part is, the other way. And telescopic lower link ends, telescopic stabilizers. The lever everybody loves that you can raise and lower the 3-point from behind the tractor. And just a massive amount of heavy cast iron. It's a very heavy tractor, and it's a very heavy duty tractor. So, and of course, we'll 7-pin in case you need wiring for anything from a baler to tie, or if you've got street lamps on your rotary cutter, turn signals, things like that. Rear defroster is standard, wiper is optional, and that's the back end. A lot of tractors that have a right door on it, you wonder why, because it's so cramped, there's no way to access the inside of the cab, to climb up in there. Not so here. It has the regular 2-step stirrup, say that fast, like it does on the other side. And it is easy enough to get in. The throttle is right there, kind of in your way, and the joystick for the loader is right there. And of course, everybody finds themselves at times that this door would be easier to access in or out than that door. Either that side is in the middle of a swamp, or you're up close to a fence, or whatever. So you can use either side. The loader quick disconnects are color coded, and they're right there. The front drive and steering components are very well protected. There's a steel guard over the, what is it, a tie rod? Oh, by the way, the front axle, which takes 90 weight, goes, it's checked and filled right here. Of course, it has more grease zerks, but very, very heavy, very well protected. You'll notice the front axle has an integrated skid plate. The oil pan, like most of our tractors, there's a good shot of it, has two drains because the front drive shaft goes right through the center of it. All done to keep the ground clearance as high as possible. So when you change your oil, make sure you pull both plugs. Stout, stout, stout. So enough of the specs and numbers and stuff like that. Let me grab the keys to one of these and go outside and take a look at the way it drives. The RX 7320 has a Grammer brand seat, which, as I've said on some of my other tractors, if you know tractor seats, Grammer is the industry standard. It's weight adjustable, and I like that they put a weight indicator on it. And if you, oh, look out, if you've ever had somebody borrow your tractor and you get in it and the seat is not where you left it and you're constantly, you're cranking and trying to find that sweet spot you found before, kilos, 110 kilos. And how do you know how many kilos you weigh? Well, you just open your phone and, hey Siri, convert 250 pounds to kilos.
That would be 113.4 kilograms.
Yeah, so that's it. So for a fatty like me, 110 is going to be the right amount of suspension on this seat. This one moves the seat fore and aft. It is adjustable in recline right here. The armrest, the armrest over there is adjustable for how far it drops, and that's handy when you're doing a lot of loader work. You can find the exact place that's best for you. Okay, so let's get in, start it up. The quarter window's open on this, as does the back window. I think one of the first things worth mentioning is that it has a foot-operated tilt wheel, which I really like. Starting it, again, it's a common rail diesel injected engine, and as such, I don't think you'll ever find the need to use the glow plugs. I never have. Climate control, Bluetooth stereo connections. See if I can get this in the picture. It has a cabin air filtration system that you can recirculate the inside air or draw fresh air from the outside. And the fresh air from the outside goes through a series of filters that are cleanable, if that's a word, and replaceable. And if you're out cutting hay or working in the dust, that really would be appreciated. Notice on the tops of the loader arms, that's actually the self-leveling mechanism. But on the very top bar, you see the thing with the thumb screw. Those are the safety supports, and I think it's cool that they include them. Those are the safety supports. Just unscrew them and put them in the piston. And if your loader's up and you're doing some maintenance work on the tractor, nobody can come by and cut you in half. It does have a level indicator, and that's adjustable for your particular use. All right, and it is a self-leveling loader, as I've said several times. Notice it is staying at the same exact degree as when I started, and putting it back down does the same thing. And what does that do for you? Well, if you're doing loader work and you're running into a pile of, I don't know, rock, and you start to lift it and you're backing up, so you're looking over your shoulder or whatever, it's a good feeling knowing that you can just continue to raise the bucket and it's not going to turn back on and dump gravel all over the hood. That's one benefit, and you know, it's kind of cool. All right, so regular 4-speed shifter. That is the thumb clutch. So that does everything that does. This lever is the power shuttle, forward and reverse. Up on the dash, those lights that you see, this one indicates 4-wheel drive, but it also indicates that the brakes are active because I have the parking brake on. Let me release that, and they both go out. So that's the brake is activated, and that's off. Right now, the shift indicator light shows that it's in neutral, and forward, reverse. So in neutral, and this is kind of cool, and for somebody that's never used a power shuttle, this first part kind of blows your mind. I'm going to find an appropriate range. Let's put it in mid-range, okay? Because I'm going to do some mowing. And I'm going to start out in mid-range 3rd gear. Do you notice that I just put it in mid-range 3rd gear and did not touch that? So the shuttle is in neutral. So if I give it a few RPMs to work with, we don't want to go too fast around here, and I simply put it into the forward position. Look at that. Off we go. And I have yet to put my foot on the clutch. Throttle up a little bit. And if I'd like to shift, how about this? I'm in 3rd, clutch, down, and the gear has changed. Okay, now I'm pulling up to a stop, so I can put my foot on the foot clutch. I could slip this into neutral, either way to find neutral for me. But starting out this time, I'm going to start out in, let's go to high range, 1st gear. I'm in neutral, which, by the way, as I said, if I just slip this, if I slip this into the forward position, off we go, and that's cool. Or I could put in the foot clutch, put it in the forward position, and let out the clutch naturally, if that makes me more comfortable. I should always mention that it can be driven as a conventional manual transmission or manual shuttle by using the foot clutch. Okay, so off we go. This is high range 1st gear, and it's time to shift. So just simply thumb clutch straight down, release the thumb clutch, off we go. Thumb clutch to 3rd and 4th. I skipped a gear there. There's 4th. I did it on purpose. I'm going to turn onto the side street. So I'm going to slow down by pushing the clutch in with my foot and using the brakes as appropriate. I just let the foot clutch out, and we're tooling along, and I'm going to make a point here as soon as I clear this big truck here. All right, let me show you something that's kind of cool. I slowed down just a bit by putting it in mid-range. I'm in 4th gear, going forward, obviously. Now, I want to change directions. I'm not going to do anything other than pull this back. I'm going to take my foot off the throttle a little bit. Look at that. So imagine doing loader work. Let's go forward. And let's go backward. And let's go forward. Now, think about how incredibly tough that has to be. You're letting the tractor slow down and change directions of all 8,000 pounds of itself. It's a magnificent design, and it works, and it's a leg saver. Now you notice I'm pretty high on the RPMs. That's because I'm in mid-range. I'm holding a camera, so in a minute I'm going to change back to high range. Okay. Now, it might be obvious, but I should state that changing ranges requires you to stop and clutch. Car passing me. Thank you. All right, so let's start back off in first gear. I have my foot off of the foot clutch. I'm going to rely just on the shuttle. Except there's people having a conference on a single lane road, so I might wait a minute. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll turn around. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, turning around again, my foot's not on the clutch. Just simply pull it in, give it some fuel. I don't want to run over those people's property, especially when they're when they're present. Oh, got a little turnaround here. All right, so we are in high range. Sorry for the movement. Thumb clutch second, thumb clutch third, and thumb clutch fourth. Let's roll it. See how fast we go. It's very manageable. If I had to guess, I'd say that's high 20s on the mile an hour. There's a store right up ahead. We are in the country. Yeehaw! Got an inside mirror there. It can be mounted like that, vertically or horizontally. Good side mirrors, I've said that. All right, back to first gear. And can we go? Yeah. Get you some. And we're gonna pull right back into half of America's largest selling coyote dealer. The other half's in Murfreesboro. All right. Let me park this. I don't want to miss any of the other standard items that come with the tractor because it's a loaded tractor. It does have a economy mode. So if you're running something that doesn't take a tremendous amount of horsepower, but you need the 540 RPMs. I always use the example of a postal digger. Anything will run a postal digger. It's got the economy. It has an electric PTO, and it's an automatic PTO. So you choose manual or automatic, and I'll explain in a minute. If it's on manual and you turn on the PTO, you get a light on the dash. The PTO is running, and to turn it off, you simply tap it. No problem. If it's on automatic, when you turn on the PTO, it is right now, I don't know, can you see the link arms are in the up position? So it disengages the PTO when the 3-point arms are lifted, and we'll set them down, up, and the PTO re-engages. It's on right now. That's automatic, so that's kind of cool. Rear defroster, PTO cruise control. If you're out cutting, or yeah, usually I'd say that's what it is. If you're running a rotary cutter and you are mowing a field, when you get the RPMs to the point that you want, which right when this machine runs at 2,600 RPMs, or 2,400 RPMs, you can set it, and it's optional. You could set the PTO cruise control, and if you meet some resistance, like a large hill or a vast increase in the height of the grass you're cutting or whatever. Instead of straining the engine and having to manually kick up the RPMs and find another sweet spot, just turn on the automatic cruise control PTO and hit set, and there you go. It'll maintain the RPMs that you had set. You can also increase and decrease in what I believe to be 50 RPM increments. Kind of cool. What is this? It says increase and decrease. You saw when I was on that side road, I was going forward to reverse using only the shuttle lever. This increases or decreases the, the aggressiveness, the speed of transition. You can set the tractor to transition forward to reverse slowly or more aggressively. And the same goes for when you initially slip the power shuttle lever into the forward or reverse position from a stop. That's how fast or slow it'll transition from a stop to a start. Rear defroster, front defroster, rear spot lamps, front spot lamps. The full down visor. Little charging port. And that's about how it goes. The four-wheel drive is power, so there you go. Just like on your truck. Do it when the tractor is stopped. And you can turn it off just like that. Very quiet. Right now it's idling at about 900 RPMs, but still, let me grab my glasses. Let's take it up some. There's 2,000. It's a very quiet tractor, and well, put the glasses back. You can see the lack of vibration. You can check that out. By the way, I just saw an opportunity. I think this will give you a good indication of seeing the difference visually of the RX 7320 and the RX 6620. They do have the same engine. They share almost all of the same components. As you can tell, the RX 7320 has larger tires. It lifts a little bit more in the 3-point. It has the 7320 has a little bit higher hydraulic output and, of course, a few more horsepower. But when we're walking across the lot and wondering, looking for an RX, it's easy for us to spot a 6620 or a 7320. The Coyote RX 7320 Power Shuttle Cab with Coyote KL 7320 self-leveling loader. A couple of the takeaways: 73 horsepower, 66 at the PTO. The one that we just looked at was a 12x12 power shuttle with a thumb clutch, push button 4-wheel drive, tilt wheel, automatic PTO, telescopic link ends, and on and on. Tractor and loader weigh 8,058 pounds. If you fill the tires with rim guard, it weighs 9,766 pounds. That's nearly 10,000 pounds of big and nasty. It's a fabulous machine, super, super high hydraulic flow rate, 19.2 gallons per minute. So it's a heck of a strong tractor. Very nice machine. If you would like to find out more about the Coyote RX 7320 Power Shuttle Cab or any other Coyote product, I hope you'll give us a call and ask questions. My name is Mike. You can call us at 615-956-0334, 615-956-0334, or email us, sales@lsetractor.com. Sales@lse, like Larry, Stove Sand Equipment, tractor.com. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is a bit of a long video. I hope you'll subscribe. I'd like to do more videos where I just simply demonstrate the product, and they're a little bit more in depth. They take a little bit more time for you to watch and for me to make, really. And I hope you'll subscribe. Thank you.